So I agree, Sammy. It's one of those things where, for whatever reason, people still wanted to sit here and talk about the Chicago Bears, and everybody. It was emblematic in a post that was Bussin' with the Boys. We're out there, and they tweeted out, "Oh, Bears fans, don't listen." Don't listen to Ben Johnson talking about the lack of preparation or the practice not being championship caliber. And I'm like, this is exactly what the Bears fans have wanted to see for quite some time. This is what we wanted out of a head coach, is going out there and having some accountability. I believe you have to go all the way back. I would say you have to go back to, Mike Ditka maybe is a coach who actually held his players accountable. And I think that right now, Ben Johnson, 2 weeks into the season, wants to see his players step up and perform. There are going to be players who are currently auditioning to be a member of the Chicago Bears. It's very fair to say that. There are guys that, were brought in, not necessarily under another regime, but another head coach who had signed off on these players who are not performing up to the standards that Ben Johnson wants to see. So, yeah, there is some issue about these guys not going out there and performing up to a championship standard. That's exactly what we want to see from our head coach. It's exactly what we want to see as we look forward to the future. We want this Bears team to be great, not in the short term, but in the long term. And in order to be in the long term, you got to go out there and set a culture that is going to be successful. It's similar to what was going on with Mike McDaniel in Miami. And so Mike McDaniel goes out there and he starts his thing, and he's, the first couple of years, I think they reached the playoffs in 2 of their first 3 years. It might have even been back-to-back his first 2 years. And everything about Mike McDaniel was funny. It was quirky. The offense was rolling and all this stuff. And, guys were not, showing up on time to meetings. Some of them weren't even showing up at all. He was the cool professor who was going out there and giving everybody an A just for, just signing up for his class. Then eventually, you got to go out there and you're held accountable. You're audited by your infrastructure, your teachers, your administration, or whatever it is. And in this case, of the NFL level, you're eventually audited by your fellow teams. Your teams will audit you of whether you're doing a good enough job or not. And for Mike McDaniel and that Dolphins team, they were not. And it's coming home to roost right now. And it's one of those things where you cannot start off with a lackadaisical approach and then try to retcon it 3-4 years later. It's too late. You've already set a culture of your team that is not going to lead to championship performances. And that's the problem that Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins have done. And that is what the Chicago Bears want to avoid. They do not want to set this lackadaisical attitude. He wants people to be accountable. So contrary to what people might believe, whether it's Will Compton or Taylor Lewan, we want Ben Johnson holding people accountable. This is exactly what the Chicago Bears want. And you know what I want to do right now, Sammy? I want to start the show.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Adam Rank.
It's Hester trying to work it back to the middle. Gets past the first wave, and here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. And no flag, 92 yards.
The sickest Chicago Bears and fantasy football podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome to the weekend edition of the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank. Thank you so much for joining us here as we get ready for the game of the week. The Dallas Cowboys come to Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears, and neither team has been looking great. Although, the Dallas Cowboys do have a win by virtue of beating the New York Giants, a team that they were expected to beat. The Chicago Bears, on the other hand, are 0-2 and not where they want to be. But I will say this, and this is where the optimism starts to play into this for a lot of people, is the Bears. I think that I can speak for most Bears fans, even me, Even me, as the guy who gets ripped on social media all the time, we get like random posts, and it's always the Commander fan. I don't know why the Commander fans always show up. Like, I think they're a little fragile based on what's happening with their team right now. They always want to come in and comment like, "Oh, you hate us." I'm like, I don't think of you at all personally. Like, I just notice that you show up in a lot of tweets that you shouldn't be involved in. Like, it doesn't really pertain to you, but you showed up anyways. Okay, thanks for being here, I guess. All right, but here's my thing too: is even me, as the most optimistic Bears fan that you know, coming into this Week 3 game against the Dallas Cowboys, expected us to be 1-1. I did not expect us to be 2-0. I wanted us to be 2-0. I am going to pick us to be 2-0 week to week, but at the same time, I am not going. I understand that I'm a game off of the pace. So if I had us for 11 wins, we're actually still on a pace. It's still attainable to go out there and win 10 games. Although a lot of things are going to have to start breaking correctly for us. Not only that, the one thing too is coming through these injuries, man. The injury report came out on Friday, and every defensive back is out. We're very close to the point of like having DJ Moore being our starting slot corner at some point. They're all gone. Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, everybody, Jones, like everybody's just out, and it's just disheartening. TJ Edwards, I think, is out as well, and like, even some of the guys who are somewhat healthy, like DeAndre Swift, is questionable for Sunday, which you hope, that's going to be hopefully he goes out there and plays. That's one of the things. Like, I've been talking about this time and time again. Like, the Bears must have felt really. This is why I picked DeAndre Swift in fantasy, was because I'm like, well, the Bears obviously really believe in him, because they didn't bring in a veteran presence to back him up. They're happy to go with Kyle Monangai, and they're happy to go with Roshan Johnson. What happens if DeAndre Swift doesn't play either? Then we're just going to go with Kyle Monangai. Everybody's going to be racing to the waiver wire to go pick up Kyle Monangai. So it is an interesting thing. So it's not as easy, not that it was ever going to be easy, that you thought it was going to be a runaway for the Chicago Bears, but still, they're in a position right now to go get their first win, go to Las Vegas in Week 4 and defeat them, and then all of a sudden, if they go to the bye week leveled up at 2-2, then we can have a conversation about the future of this team this season, I should say. It's really interesting. Will they be able to beat the Dallas Cowboys? This is going to be a tougher one than I thought it was going to be. And also, I keep reading reports that, a lot of the Cowboy fans are coming and snapping up tickets in Chicago. This is the one thing that I've always admired about Chicago, is it never really felt that like the other teams really take over the stadium. Like, you'll see other, like, going to games at SoFi Stadium. You see so many other fans of the other team going out there, and you know what? It just really doesn't make sense sometimes. But at the same time, we got to go out there and give fans a reason to want to show up to Soldier Field. And by the way, where are you watching the game this weekend? If you were in the Chicagoland area and you are not going to make it to the game, maybe you scalped your tickets. Maybe some Cowboys fan was like, I'll give you $800 for your seat, and you make the sale. Well, then what you ought to do is go to Twisted Shamrock, the place for Chicago sports. Whether you are a fan of the Bears, Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, Blackhawks, Sky, or Fire, you got to be watching the games at Twisted Shamrock. They have got monster TVs in their private party room, over the bar, and of course, out on the luxurious patio. It is the best place in all of Chicago to watch a game. Not only do they have drink specials, they've got the best vibe, the best fans, the best clientele, the best bar staff, the best bartenders. It is an epic place to watch a Bears game. And if you are not going to be in Soldier Field, you need to make your way down to Twisted Shamrock. Go and order yourself an old-fashioned, and you will not be disappointed. And you know what? They also got great food there. So go check out Twisted Shamrock, the place to be for Chicago sports. Man, I can't wait to get back to Chicago and go to the Twisted Shamrock. I need to go there. God, I got to make sure the next time I'm in Chicago that I fly in to midway, which is what I usually do. I'm usually a midway person. Gotta get in there on an early Saturday. But it's tough because I got soccer. And it's tough to get there early on a Saturday because I want to go and watch some college football. Go to the Twisted Shamrock, then go to the hotel, do all that stuff. But still, in any event, this weekend, I still feel very confident in the Chicago Bears despite being beset by injuries. And you know what? Why don't I go ahead? I'm going to pull out the Bears injury report just so we have it all the way. Oh my gosh. The Bears injury report. 5 players already ruled out. Now we talked about Jalen Johnson. So we were going to be missing Jalen Johnson, TJ Edwards, Kyler Gordon, Karan Amagaji, and Jalen Jones. Oh, man. That's 3 starting defenders who will not be suiting up for the Bears this week. Oh, man. It's going to be tough. And this Dallas Cowboys offense is really starting to click. We've seen from the Cowboys, Javonte Williams has been an absolute find for them. Javonte Williams, it's so interesting to me because Javonte Williams is one of those players that coming into this season, I had no shares of Javonte Williams. There's a handful of best ball leagues. I think I ended up with him, but I was so high on CeeDee Lamb coming into this season. Also loved stacking Dak Prescott as well that I was ignoring Javonte Williams. So I virtually in just about every league, any league that matters to me, I do not have any shares of Javonte Williams. I might not be winning a fantasy championship this season because of that. And by the way, speaking of fantasy football, why win your league when you can rule it? We're talking about crowned champs, everybody. They have got everything you need to rule your fantasy football league instead of settling for your basic little plastic trophy, a dumbass little, wrestling belt or a group chat GG or whatever. Crown Champs has real championship crowns. They've got rings, they've got scepters, they've got all kinds of cool stuff for you to go and check out. And the best part of that, super easy to get started. Go to crownchampscompany.com. You know what? You pay $2.99 per person and you enter the community there. You end up getting an opportunity to compete for these championship crowns and everything like that. It's $2.99. It's less than what you spend on an IPA at the Twisted Shamrock. You're so fine. Go out there and do this. Go get it sorted. Go be a part of the Crown Champs community. You won't be disappointed. Don't just win your fantasy league. Go out and rule it. CrownChampsCompany.com. And my guy just was reaching out today. We were talking about it. Like the crowns are so sick. You got to go check that out. But still, the Dallas Cowboys do own, despite the fact that their offense is playing so well, their defense sort of sucks. Their defense allowed Russell Wilson to kind of be the old Russ. He was Gordon Ramsay again. He was out there cooking like he did back in the days of the Legion of Boom and all that stuff. And it's really interesting to me because this is a real chance for Caleb Williams. And this is the thing that everybody's been talking about. Like, obviously, and I was on the after hour today with Andrew Siciliano, and he was talking about, hey, if all the games ended after the scripted plays, the Bears would be 2-0. But I had to explain to him, I'm like, dude, I know that you're saying that to be smart and be funny and just kind of have a little bit of a laugh. You're having a go at the Chicago Bears. We did not have even that modest success for teams last week. We didn't score on an opening drive at all last year. And the fact that we've scored on the opening drives in each of the first 2 games of the season, this gives me a lot of hope for this one, especially in a matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, a team that has been very generous to opposing teams. So I want to keep up that energy. So obviously we want to go out there. We want to score on the first drive again. I want that streak to be something that becomes a thing for the Chicago Bears. I don't care if they make fun of us. Make fun of us. Okay, fine. Yeah, we only score in the opening script. Fine. But that wasn't the case last week. This was cool too. Like there were people out there online, and I forget who it was, and I don't even, honestly, I don't care. But there was some guy who was like, oh, Caleb Williams is scoring all his points in garbage time. And I'm like, hey, dude, I know that you're a Russian bot and you're trying to think of something smart to say against, and it's probably just a Packers fan who just doesn't understand football or hasn't watched the games. And no disrespect, I don't expect fans of other teams to sit here and watch Chicago Bears football, but they had their crib sheet from last year where Caleb did have some garbage time points. So he was using the same argument, not realizing no, the thing that everybody's knocking the Bears for this year is they score far too many of their points too early and not enough late. But that is one of the things that I would love to see the Chicago Bears work on this week is overcoming adversity. And it starts, number one, with overcoming these injury-riddled, this injury-riddled report of all the guys who are going to be out this week. You gotta stand up to the face of adversity. And that's the one thing, that's one part that I would really love to see out of Ben Johnson is responding when things are not going your way. That is the biggest improvement the Bears can make this week. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to root for the Bears. I want them to go out there and win that game. However, they need to go out there and respond to adversity. And there is no bigger adversity than starting the season 0-2. If we can go out there and when things don't go our way, and it's 2nd and 20, and you still go out there and pick up the first down, those are some of the micro battles I would love to see this team win. I know, and it sucks because I feel like we're repeating history once again because a number of years ago, I remember it was a game against the Cowboys where it was an exciting game and it was one of Justin Fields' best games. And I remember walking out of that game and being like, you know what? I know we lost, but Justin Fields looks good. And it feels like we're there again because we're like, well, we're losing, but Caleb is showing improvement. And it's one of those things he really is. Caleb is looking good. Caleb is looking like a competent quarterback, a franchise quarterback. He's getting close to being, not elite, but he's getting close to being on the upper 15 of quarterbacks. I would almost argue that he's there. Although whenever I do my rankings of quarterbacks, my tiers of quarterbacks, I always have the second year guys in their own separate tier because we really don't know. When you look at last year's draft, you look at Caleb Williams is doing his thing. He's playing much better than he did in year one. Jaden Daniels is already hurt, so it's going to be very difficult to continue to evaluate him. Drake Mays had one good game, one bad game. That's fine. He's a young guy, not a big deal. Michael Penix is getting an opportunity. Now he's got the Carolina Panthers. He's going to look good. J.J. McCarthy was good for a quarter. Bo Nix has had some... I actually really like Bo Nix still, so I think he's had a little bit of an uneven start, but still very good. And so for me, I think that I don't want to be in a position where we just want the moral victory and hey, no, we need to go out there and set a pattern of overcoming adversity, finding ways to win. Those are the kind of things that I would like to focus in on this week. I am not going to concede that we are going to lose this game by any stretch of the imagination. I think the Bears need to go out there and start getting into winning habits. I know, again, we don't want to put too much into the wins and losses this early in the season, but at the same time, they need to go out there and start putting in some winning habits. And speaking of winning habits, let me talk to you for a second about Huel. Huel is the fuel that makes me go. Listen, I am a big guy. Listen, I intermittent fast all the time. My schedule sucks. I never have time to sit down and eat, but Huel has been a lifesaver for me. What are these things right here? Check it out. You get one of these things. It is it's 400 calories. It's between 34 and 40 grams of protein, which is, I believe, about 80%, 70% of your protein for the day. So if you have one of these, you get 70% of your protein. So if you ever want to make a difference and make a plan and start some winning mentality, and I keep this in the car too, it's always got protein powder in it. So if I down that one and then I'm off to Chapman University to go teach my class, I don't have time to sit there and stop to get a bite to eat. Huel has been keeping me going. We want to thank them for joining us here as part of the Sick Podcast. So breaking it down, final moments. I'm just going to say this. The Chicago Bears will find a way to win this game. I think this is going to be a quirky, fun game. I think those players hated Matt Eberflus. They are going to go out there and show how much they actually did. They're going to go out there. They're going to take apart this defense. They're going to give up a lot of points. It is going to be a fun, high-scoring game. It's the game of the week for a reason. And Tom Brady will sit there and glean a bunch of information and try to use it against us as we go in and we face the Las Vegas Raiders next week. But looking forward to a Bears victory. Give me the Bears 35-31 in one of the best contests of the entirety of the season. Good luck, everybody. We will see you after the game on Sunday. Bear down, and Sammy, go ahead and play us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow The Sick Podcast with Adam Rank on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.